Your vehicle strikes an unattended parked vehicle and you cannot locate the vehicle's owner. You A. have done as much as you can. B. must stay until the police arrive. C. must leave a written notice containing your name, your address, and the circumstances of the accident. D. may go on your way. C. must leave a written notice containing your name, your address, and the circumstances of the accident. Upon striking an unattended vehicle, stop and try to locate the owner. If you cannot find the owner, leave a written notice containing your name, your address, and the circumstances of the accident. This sign means A. slippery when wet. B. watch for drunk drivers. C. dangerous curve ahead. D. bump in the road ahead. A. slippery when wet. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers to be extra careful when the pavement is wet because the road may become slippery, making vehicles more difficult to control. You want to back out of your driveway. You see children playing nearby. Before you start to move your car, you should A. rev your engine to warn the children that you are moving. B. sound your horn so the children will hear you. C. walk to the back of the car to be sure the way is clear. D. tell the children to stay away from the driveway. C. walk to the back of the car to be sure the way is clear. When you back up a vehicle, look through your back window for pedestrians and other obstacles. Do not rely only on your mirrors, especially when children are near. Before you back into or out of a driveway, get out of the vehicle and check behind your vehicle. When you are being tailgated. A. move over to the right, if there is an open lane to your right. B. if there is not an open lane to your right, wait until the way is clear ahead and reduce your speed slowly to encourage the tailgater to drive around you. C. never slow down abruptly. D. all of the above. D. all of the above. If you are being tailgated by another driver and there is a right lane, move over to the right. If there is no right lane, wait until the road ahead is clear and then reduce your speed slowly. This will encourage the tailgater to drive around you. Never slow down abruptly as this will only increase the risk of your vehicle being hit from behind.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
When driving under icy or snowy conditions, which driving technique will help drivers avoid crashes? A. Add extra weight to their vehicles to improve traction. B. Get off the highways as quickly as possible. C. Engage the four-wheel drive on their vehicles. D. Reduce their speed and increase their following distance. D. Reduce their speed and increase their following distance. Reduce your speed when roads are snow-covered or icy. Doing this and increasing your following distance are the most important techniques for avoiding crashes under snowy or icy conditions. At dusk or on overcast days, you should A. Drive using your four-way flashers. B. Drive using your parking lights. C. Not turn on any vehicle lights. D. Turn on your headlights. D. Turn on your headlights. At dusk or on overcast days, you must turn on your headlights. Dim your lights to their low beam setting when within 1,000 feet of an approaching vehicle and when within 500 feet of a vehicle that you are following. When driving in poor weather, always use your low beams. A driver should be extra alert to motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians because A. They're difficult to see in traffic. B. They obey different traffic laws than larger motor vehicles. C. They always have the right of way. D. They don't have rear-view mirrors. A. They're difficult to see in traffic. In many collisions with motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians, drivers reported that they were looking but still did not see the smaller vehicle or pedestrian. These can be more difficult to spot in traffic than passenger vehicles because they are smaller, may move faster, and have less noticeable lighting. To prevent collisions with these smaller and less protected road users, drivers should always be alert to the presence of motorcycles, bikes, and pedestrians. Lanes of traffic moving in the same direction are divided by fill in the blank lines. A. Yellow. B. White. C. Red. D. Black. B. White. Solid white lines are used to separate lanes traveling in the same direction as well as to mark the right edge of the road. Broken white lines separate lanes traveling in the same direction and may be crossed to pass. Yellow lines separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. This sign means A. Watch for drunk drivers. B. Curves ahead. C. Slippery when wet. D. Apply your brakes quickly. C. Slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road is slippery when wet. If you experience a tire blowout, A. Take your foot off the gas. B. Do not immediately use your brakes. C. Gradually slow down and pull off the side of the road. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you experience a tire blowout, take your foot off the gas pedal and do not immediately apply the brakes. Gradually slow down before gently applying the brakes and pulling off the side of the road. To help relieve fatigue on a long trip, it is a good idea to A. Stop and rest every 2 hours. B. Do arm exercises every hour. C. Drive with one eye open at a time. D. Change feet on the gas pedal. A. Stop and rest every 2 hours. To avoid becoming fatigued while taking a long trip, stop every 2 hours for a short break. If you become drowsy, pull off the road and park in a safe place to take a nap, or find a room to stay for the night. If another car is in danger of hitting you, you should A. Sound your horn. B. Wave your arms. C. Use your emergency lights. D. Flash your headlights. A. Sound your horn. Your horn should be used to warn other drivers or pedestrians in situations where they may not see you. For example, if you think another driver is about to hit you, you should sound your horn. This sign means A. Merging traffic. B. Multiple turns. C. Lane shifting. D. Do not block intersection. A. Merging traffic. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to potential traffic merging from the right. Drivers should prepare to allow the traffic to merge safely. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right-of-way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection. If you are stopped by a police officer, you should: A. Unbuckle your seat belt and lower your window. B. Get your paperwork ready before the officer reaches your car. C. Stay in your vehicle with your hands on the steering wheel and wait for the officer to approach you. D. Get out of your car and walk toward the patrol car. C. Stay in your vehicle with your hands on the steering wheel and wait for the officer to approach you. If you are stopped by the police, keep your hands on the wheel and ask any passengers to keep their hands in view as well. You should remain in the vehicle unless the police officer asks you to get out. Wait until the officer asks you to retrieve your driver license, registration, and insurance cards. You come to an intersection displaying a flashing red light. You should: A. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. B. Stop only if other cars are also approaching the intersection. C. Stop only if other cars are already within the intersection. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop, if necessary. A. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. A flashing red traffic light has the same meaning as a stop sign. You must stop, yield the right of way, and go once it is safe. At an intersection with a yield sign, you should: A. Always stop before entering the intersection. B. Yield just to the traffic on the right. C. Yield just to the traffic on the left. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. A yield sign means that you must slow down and yield the right of way to traffic in the intersection or roadway you are entering. Signaling your intentions before turning, changing lanes, or driving away from a curb. A. Is necessary only if other traffic is present. B. Is a good driving habit and is required by law. C. Is necessary only during the maneuver, not before. D. Is not necessary if the maneuver is done slowly. A seat belt should be adjusted so that it: A. Is loose. B. Is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. C. Is hidden beneath the seat. D. Keeps the seat belt buzzer or light from operating. B. Is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. Lap belts should fit snugly across your hip bones and the lower part of your abdomen. Shoulder belts should sit comfortably so that you can insert your fist between the belt and your chest. This sign means: A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. D. Be alert for construction workers on the road. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. Drivers should be cautious when driving where pedestrians may be present. You are waiting in the intersection to complete a left turn. You should: A. Signal and keep your wheels turned to the left. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. C. Flash your headlights so drivers will let you through. D. Drive around the rear of a car if it blocks you. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. You must always signal before turning or changing lanes. You should keep your wheels straight while waiting to make a left turn. If another vehicle hits you from behind, this ensures that you will not be pushed into oncoming traffic. When parking your vehicle downhill on a two-way street. A. Turn your wheels to the right. B. Turn your wheels to the left. C. Keep your wheels pointed straight ahead. D. Leave your transmission in neutral. A. Turn your wheels to the right. When you park on a downward-facing slope, turn your wheels sharply toward the side of the road. This way, if your vehicle starts to roll downhill, it will roll away from traffic. Double solid yellow lines painted down the middle of the road mean: A. Railroad crossing ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Passing is not permitted from either direction. D. Passing is permitted from either direction. C. Passing is not permitted from either direction. Double solid yellow lines in the center of the road mean that passing is not allowed from either direction. You may not cross the lines unless you are making a left turn or passing pedestrians, bicyclists, and riders of scooters or skateboards when the opposite lane is clear and you can pass safely. When preparing to turn left, drivers should: A. Slow down gradually while checking their rearview mirror. B. Move into the left lane. C. Watch for oncoming vehicles and pedestrians. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. As you approach a left turn, signal your intentions 3 to 5 seconds in advance. Continually check your rearview mirror as you gradually slow down. On a multi-lane road, move into the left lane before reaching the intersection where you plan to turn. Yield to traffic and pedestrians and turn when your path is clear. You may continue carefully through an intersection with a yellow light if: A. There is an emergency vehicle crossing your lane. B. There are pedestrians crossing. C. You are turning right. D. You are already within the intersection when the light changes to yellow. D. You are already within the intersection when the light changes to yellow. If a steady yellow light appears when you are already within an intersection, you should continue through the intersection carefully. Certain highway signs require drivers to obey an indicated instruction. Such signs are known as: A. Regulatory signs. B. Warning signs. C. Information signs. D. Guide signs. A. Regulatory signs. Regulatory signs require drivers to obey an indicated instruction. Failure to comply is subject to penalty. This sign means: A. One-way traffic. B. Divided highway ahead. C. Two-way traffic. D. Keep left. B. Divided highway ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This warning sign indicates that drivers are about to encounter a divided highway. You need to use extra caution when driving near a pedestrian using a white cane because: A. He or she is deaf. B. He or she is a police officer. C. He or she is blind. D. He or she has poor balance. C. He or she is blind. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or walking with a guide dog, you must slow down, yield the right of way, and then proceed with caution. Be prepared to stop your vehicle in order to prevent injury or danger to the pedestrian. Distracted driving is A. Very uncommon. B. Extremely risky behavior. C. Nothing to be concerned about. D. No less safe than driving under any other conditions. B. Extremely risky behavior. Distracted driving is extremely risky behavior that puts not only you and your passengers in danger, but also endangers pedestrians, bicyclists, and other motorists sharing the road. Focused attention on driving helps to prevent crashes. Defensive driving is A. Identifying dangerous driving situations and taking action to avoid accidents. B. Defending yourself against poor drivers by getting ahead of them in traffic. C. Following the vehicle ahead of you at a close distance. D. Quickly changing lanes and shifting in and out of traffic congestion. How can you help prevent rear-end collisions? A. Avoid sudden stops. B. Before stopping, check your mirrors and blind spots for traffic. C. Release the gas pedal and let your vehicle slow before applying the brakes. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Stopping suddenly can make it difficult for drivers behind you to avoid a rear-end collision. When stopping, release the accelerator to allow your vehicle to slow. Press the brake pedal by applying steady pressure, activating your brake lights and causing the vehicle to stop smoothly. A red and white triangular sign at an intersection means A. Slow down if an emergency vehicle is approaching. B. Look both ways as you cross the intersection. C. Always come to a full stop at the intersection. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. A triangular red and white yield sign means that you must decrease speed as you approach an intersection and yield the right of way to any vehicles or pedestrians in the intersection. You must be prepared to stop if conditions require it. An arrow painted on the pavement means A. Drivers in the proper lane may make the movement indicated by the arrow, if they choose to do so. B. Drivers in the proper lane must make the movement indicated by the arrow, but only if traffic lights are not working. C. Drivers in the proper lane must always come to a complete stop before making the movement indicated by the arrow. D. Drivers in the proper lane must make the movement indicated by the arrow while following directions indicated by traffic signals. D. Drivers in the proper lane must make the movement indicated by the arrow while following directions indicated by traffic signals. An arrow painted on the pavement within a traffic lane indicates that drivers in the lane must make the movement indicated by the arrow. Drivers should follow directions given by any traffic signs or signals before proceeding in the direction indicated by the arrow. When should you drive in a lane under a lane signal showing a red X? A. If there is no visible oncoming traffic. B. If you are passing the car in front of you. C. Between sunset and sunrise. D. Never. D. Never. Lane use control signals are used when the direction of the flow of traffic in a specific lane changes throughout the day. They are used to show which lanes of traffic are open and closed, as well as to show if toll booths are open or closed. Drivers should never drive in a lane underneath a red X. Stress can affect your driving by A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. B. Decreasing your chances of an accident. C. Causing you to fall asleep at the wheel. D. Making you more aware of others around you. Exceeding the speed limit by more than 50 miles per hour will result in a fine of. Fill in the blank. For a first offense. A. $100. B. $400. C. $1,000. D. $2,500. C. $1,000. Exceeding the speed limit by more than 50 miles per hour will result in a fine of $1,000 for a first-time offense. A second offense will result in a fine of $2,500. You may legally drive 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. A. At all times. B. When passing another vehicle. C. In light traffic conditions. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. Speeding is against the law. You must obey the speed limit and you are responsible for knowing the speed limit when you are driving. The speeding buffer is a myth. You are not allowed to drive up to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. If two drivers arrive at the same time to an open intersection. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. B. The driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. If you arrive to an open intersection at the same time as a vehicle to your right, you should yield the right of way to that vehicle. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. Is it legal cross a double solid yellow centerline to pass? A. Yes. B. No. C. If there is no oncoming traffic. D. If the vehicle ahead of you is driving under the speed limit. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. You are entering a crowded freeway. What should you do to merge into traffic? A. Use your side and rear view mirrors and check your blind spots. B. Use the acceleration lane to adjust your speed to match the speed of freeway traffic. C. Yield to traffic already on the freeway. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Use the entrance ramp to accelerate to the speed of freeway traffic and yield to traffic already using the freeway. Before entering traffic, use your mirrors and check your blind spots to verify that you have room to safely merge. This road sign means A. A steep grade is ahead. B. You must turn left ahead. C. Do not enter. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. This sign warns that a four-way intersection is ahead. This sign means A. Divided highway ends. B. One-way traffic ahead. C. Two-way traffic ahead. D. Keep to the right. D. Keep to the right. This sign indicates that you must keep to the right of the upcoming divider. The driver's left arm and hand are extended upward. This hand signal means that the driver plans to A. Turn left. B. Turn right. C. Come to a stop. D. Go straight ahead. B. Turn right. If a driver's left arm and hand are extended upward, they are indicating that they intend to turn right. Adjust your driving accordingly if following a driver who is using this hand signal. A solid yellow line on your side of the center line means A. Slow down. B. Pass with caution. C. Do not pass. D. Keep right on hills. C. Do not pass. A solid yellow line next to your lane means that passing is not permitted from your direction. What is the only way to reduce your blood alcohol concentration, BAC? A. Drink coffee. B. Exercise. C. Allow your body time to get rid of the alcohol. D. Take a cold shower. C. Allow your body time to get rid of the alcohol. The only method that effectively reduces your BAC is to not drink alcohol for a period of time. Coffee, exercise, and cold showers cannot reduce your BAC or change the effects of alcohol. They can help you remain awake, but they cannot change your BAC or make you sober. When passing other vehicles. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. B. Honk your horn at least 3 times. C. Re-enter your lane within 10 feet of the passed vehicle. D. There is no need to signal. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Before passing another vehicle, check your mirrors and blind spots. Before changing lanes, activate the appropriate turn signal. Re-enter the lane when you can see the front of the passed vehicle in your rearview mirror. Highway hypnosis is a driving condition that can result from A. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. B. Frequent rest stops. C. Too much sleep the night before your trip. D. Short trips on expressways. A. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. Highway hypnosis happens when you stare straight ahead at the roadway for long periods of time and stop actively scanning ahead, behind, and around your vehicle. This can lead you to zone out, making you very likely to crash into traffic slowing or stopping ahead of you. Under normal weather and traffic conditions, keep a minimum following distance of A. 1 second. B. 2 seconds. C. 3 seconds. D. 4 seconds. D. 4 seconds. The more distance between your vehicle and others, the more time you have to react to potential hazards. Keep a minimum following distance of 4 seconds under normal weather and traffic conditions. Increase your following distance during unusual weather or traffic conditions. This road sign means A. No right turn. B. Curve. C. Turn right or left. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. This one-way sign indicates that traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow.